My name's Gordon Douglas Eisen, and I am the progenitor of the on-demand series called Linoleum Blownapart. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Bye. That's it, because I'm going to be erased. There is no doubt. Tracked and traced means erased, right? But we're all going to be erased eventually. We know this place is temporary, right? And it doesn't feel good to be messed with. It doesn't feel good at all, you know? It doesn't feel good to be targeted and tortured through your device, all right? So, and discredited. That doesn't feel good at all either. So I don't appreciate it, and I keep going. Like I said, you know, like the Energizer Bunny, whatever. So you can read on Kindle Linoleum Blownapart. This is an on-demand series, right? So I'm not naive. I understand that you guys remember there's 2 films about volcano? Right? So you could take the structure of anything, and it's not going to be subjected to copyright and all that bullshit. Right? You could take the overarching theme of something. Right? They can make 2 films. One of them was like about the White House or something like that, right? It's like, you know, they had to save the president and all this stuff, right? So there's 2 of those films, right? So sorry, I don't mean to be right. So there's 2 of those films, and I understand the Panama Papers. Somebody said, I keep doing it, sorry. Somebody said, no, you're not going to write that. Somebody else is going to write that. Right? You're just a TV writer. That's what you are. Know your place, know your race, get the F out of my face. So I did, back in Detroit. Oh, what? I'm sorry? What was that, Jill Footlick? Sounds like Lick the Boot to me. Oh, I'm German. They're going to change my name because I'm getting married. Right? Sorry, I keep doing it. Right? I won't do it. That's tough, man. That's tough. Anyway, you got to move on. You got to move on. You know, I showed somebody that I love them, and I used a behavior modification technique. That's not cool. I get it. It's the last bastion of a coward. You know? I'm a coward, yeah. And all of a sudden, I'm surrounded by cowardly techniques. You know what I mean? You know, you make one mistake in your life, and you're in a pamphlet. Is that what I am? Right? When I came up, I did it again. When I came up, I used to listen to Bob Seger. He said, I'm not a number. Damn it, I'm a man. You know, meaning I'm a human being. That's what that means. It's not about gender. It's about spirit. It's about breath. We all have it, no matter what we got dangling between our legs. Right? Did it again. So you can go on Kindle and you can read Linoleum Blownapart. Linoleum Blownapart was a band that I was in. I created this band back in Detroit. That's why I know my songs in the grievance committee are superior, because I didn't listen to them for 15 years and I don't have a bunch of locals blowing smoke up my ass. Everything I said still stands. Art from Harmony House and Solly from the neighborhood of Boston Edison are the 2 people that told me some shit about Jimmy Doom. I don't know that motherfucker, but it's on site. So I still feel the same way. Fuck you and your crew. Doesn't change anything. What they did is horrific. They put me into a system in my phone. It's called I call it Sim Tech, because SimLink might be linked to a company. That's the first step. That's the first rung on the ladder. Right? I did it again, sorry. All right, stay with me here, because what we're doing is we're writing an on-demand series. And I'm writing this. Right? You wouldn't know, I did it again. You wouldn't know who Darwin is if it wasn't for his grandfather. You wouldn't know who Jeff Bezos was if it wasn't for his grandfather, I want to say. There's something called harmonized tariff scheduling. That's HTS. The ships on the ground, through the canals and all that, they're going to be from secondary countries like BRICS. But we're going to be shipping things through the magnetosphere, through what they call space. It's low Earth orbit. And that's what's going to give us dominance. That's why we got Space Force. Right? Did it again. I think it's a part where I get my brain ready for the next step. That's what that is. I hope. All right. So I got to keep going with my creative projects. My hand's shaking a little bit. Coffee was very good this morning. So I'm going to talk about Max. Because every character is myself. What did I say if I want to go back in time? I would start a record label. That's what Jack White did. It was so obvious. What did the record companies do after they went to Seattle? They went to Detroit. I know two people. Ransweiler, he had a label, and the girlfriend of Steve in my band, she hooked up with the guy from Pearl Jam. I don't want to say hooked up. They're in love. They married. They have kids. Whatever. Congratulations. It's not fun having an op run on me. Everyone has this dumb look on their face. I don't know what you're talking about. That's why I watch the First Amendment auditors. Because you go into a police station to correct something or get some information, I don't know what you're talking about. We ain't got nothing here. I can't help you, buddy. See ya. That's what they did to me. That's what they did to me. You try to correct something, too late. You're done. Oh, we heard about you. Oh, yeah. Oh, we heard about you. Right? It is true. And it's sad. And the government or any other institution shouldn't be run that way. It's wrong. And people know that. But it's never going to be 100% right. That's what I did when I made a mistake. I've been arrested before. So what? Right? So you need the proper counseling. You need the proper guidance. That's what's important about a family. And that's why people seek families elsewhere. That's why gangs exist. Crews exist. Mobs exist. All right, sorry, I'm going off. All right, so you have to read The Treatment. It's on Kindle, or you're not going to get what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go back over everything that I did for 2 years. So there's a character. His name's Max. Now, this character is like the guy, he's in The Firm from the show. It's called The Young Ones. Like, he's with The Firm. That's what they call the mob in, England. Right? They call it The Outfit in Chicago, etc., etc. So this guy, Max, his dad is named Dino. And Dino is in the mob. Right? He's a mob guy. He was mobbed up like Michael Franchise's father. And so Max is his bastard son. It's always about the bastard son. The bastard in the basket. Who's your father? The Christ, right? Je suis. Who's his father? Oh, it wasn't Joseph, I guess. Right? So it's always about the bastard son. So that's Max. Max inherited, right, what his step siblings did not. And it took, his father is in his 80s. He's 80, 70, 80. Max, he's in his 30s. His step siblings, they're in their 50s, obviously, right? So you do the math. Dino had his kids when he's in his 20s, blah, blah, blah. Then he had an affair with Max's mother, who's still alive. So these are all characters that are going to be developed depending on, you got to be fluid, depending on where the show is going and who the writers are and how it resonates. I'm not writing the dialogue for this. LA 2044, I'm writing the dialogue for. It's going to be stop sign dialogue, what they call stop sign dialogue. That's what it's called. So it's, the name speaks for itself. It's not clever witticisms, maybe. Okay? So this character, Max, he sees this punk rock thing going on. Now, he knows who his dad is because, he's raised by a single mother. It's just him and his mother. There were moments in time where my sisters weren't there and it was just me and my mother. Shit. Fucking assholes. And, you always want to be, a mama's boy. And people put that in the pejorative and stuff. But you want to be. And there were times, where I stuck up for my mother. And sometimes my mother wasn't always right. Where do you think they get Ma Barker? Right? Where do you think they get Ma Barker? Oh, you'll do anything for your mom, she tells you. Oh, yeah, you rob a bank? I got stories about that, too. Right? So I'm saying Linoleum Blownapart is inspired by a lot of things, me, everybody in my band. But it's also based on David Chase's Not Fade Away. Hey, David, man, you knocked it out of the park, man. You made a bunch of people a lot of money. Thank you. What do you want to do? I want to make a movie about rock and roll. This is an on-demand series about rock and roll. But it's not just about rock and roll. It can't just be about one thing. We're living in a TikTok future, man. So we're going to go through time. We're going to go back. We're going to go through the midnight movies. There's only 7 of them. That's in another episode. You got to watch them. You got to watch it all. They're going to take all of my videos and you could put it in AI and have them extract the most important things that I say, and then you can make one video out of that. I talk about being replaced. It's tough. It's tough. You go to look up my background check. What? Oh, what you talking about? But you could put me in a program for behavioral correction? Damn, man, it's tough. It's tough. It is. Having your friends turn on you, your family. It's tough. All right? But you move on. You got to. You don't have a choice. So, right? So Max learns about his father, not from his mother. But, he hears things like me. Don't forget, we're going to talk about circumcision of the ear in the next, notes from the underclass. Okay? Keep doing it. It's a tick in order for me to get to the next thought. That's what it is. That's how he learns about his father. My father left a guitar. I remember he had an acoustic guitar and Johnny Cash's Live at San Quentin. I knew every lyric of that record by the time I was 8 years old. My sister, who is she's a mezzo-soprano, she's a singer, very talented. She was a prodigy on the fiddle. She could play the fiddle at 5 years old. She's a daddy's girl. Okay? But we are the bookends. I'm the youngest, she's the oldest. My mother only had time to work on the 2 daughters. My mother's one of 3 sisters. I have 3 sisters, and I picked out those parallels of the 3 women. In the Matrix, she's called Trinity. And Shakespeare had the weird sisters. Weird means what? It means to bend. That's what it means. They were bent. They were bent. The weird sisters. That's what they were. And I could go into another direction about the thing that I created with the ghost of Napoleon haunting Stanley Kubrick. And that's how I got here. Because you got to start with a kernel. That's what I call a kernel. A kernel of an idea. That's how you got to start. And that's how this started. I was in a band called Linoleum Blownapart, and the Warren Tattoo crew called somebody who was on the spectrum that I knew, and they called me, Gordon, you got a show. And I went down there because I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier. And I went down there and they got blown apart in the parking lot. It's a threat. It's a veiled threat. That's all they have is a veiled threat. That's all you got. That's all you got is a veiled threat. So Max he sees that there's a need for this new music that's coming out. The kids in the punk rock band only exist from 1987 to 1997. That's where I existed. That's where the songs are from. My songs aren't going to be front and center. My songs are going to be background, man. You're just going to hear a little hook, and then you got to go. You got to go into the action of the story. You might come back to the song, but the songs are going to be recorded like backbeat. Go see that film. I urge you to see it. The songs are going to be pre-recorded, and that way the actors don't have to worry about nothing. They can lip sync. Right? It's not going to be that in tune like this thing with Dylan, which I really want to see. Looks like a lovely film. Lovely. Right? So that's who Max is. He's got to learn about his father. He goes to the library and he reads on microfilm. Just like here. They still have the microfilm. You could look up anything you want. You look it up on microfilm, and he's reading old newspaper articles. I urge you to check out old newspaper articles. It's muy importante. You'll see stuff in there, you're like, oh, it'll blow your mind. The stuff that's in there. That's why I love Kenneth Anger. Because he simply took everything out of tabloid newspapers that was already in print. He put it in a book called Hollywood Babylon. And he got sued. Hey, what'd you say about me? And he won because he's like, I got that from them. It was already in print. See? I don't know if the gods are on my side or if everybody's against me. I don't know if everybody's on my side or maybe the gods are against me. There's no way to know. I just don't like that it's organized and it's through your phone. They can manipulate you. I don't like that. Nobody likes to be manipulated. Nobody likes that. But we're talking about Max. Right? Like I said, if I go back in time, I would start a record company. Record label, I meant to say. There were so many bands in Detroit, it was insane. All those guys are standing on the shoulders of giants. That's what I was doing in the grievance committee. I was standing on the shoulders of giants. I love Bob Seger. I love all that stuff. Iggy Pop, Ted Nugent, Alice Cooper. I can go on and on and on. MC5. You know how I discovered the MC5? Through The Damned. I didn't even know. I had heard of them. I didn't even know about them. Right? This is a BC era before computers. This is a BC era before crack. That's what I call the BC era. That's me. That's what this is about. But you don't have to have a timeline. You don't have to tell the audience. They fill in the blanks. They fill it in. What happens when you read, I used to read Andrew Vakis, Elmore Leonard, all these books, Hubert Selby Jr., all these guys, Iceberg Slim, where was that other guy, Donald Goines? You're reading it. What are you doing? It's theater of the mind. You're picturing this stuff. Right? That's why the best thing to do is to have an on-demand series. You got the music, you got the visuals, you got the costumes. The band's called Linoleum Blownapart. Now you're stuck with that. Now you got Lionel growing up, coming into his own. And he's like, man, I'm not walking around in a puffy fucking sweater, man. We got these other guys in these other bands being smug. Oh, you left your breeches. Where are your breeches? He's linoleum. Right? That happens. So all this guy's got to get in a fight. Now, I'm not naive. I talk about David Chase. They don't make stuff like that anymore. That's what I was doing in New York when people were bagging on me and ragging on me. I didn't mind going to jail. I don't care about going to jail. I had been to jail before. That's what I was expecting. I was saying, F you, come and get me. That's what I was saying to authority. But they said it in The Godfather, right? He said it. He's like, hey, man, you got all the judges and the politicians in your pocket. Who are the shot callers? Government gangsters. That's what I'm saying. That's what Michael Franchise says. The government's being run like the mob. I was in the mob. They're using mob tactics. And Kash Patel said the same thing. That's why the politicians and the judges, they're the shot callers. And the soldiers are the city workers, the police. You see, I watch body cam videos. All that's going into LA 2044. We're talking about Max, but right? You see these body cam videos. They're not there to serve and protect. They're not there for anything that has to do with the Constitution. They're there on behalf of the corporation that's the city and the insurance companies. And they will use gang tactics and they will target you and then get rid of you. Yeah, whatever. So anyways, let's wrap it up. So Max, he's the son of a single woman and his mother is sexy. My dad, he's Sicilian. He was going to fight a guy at the track. He used to go to the track. He loves the track, racetrack. He likes the trotters. I like the thoroughbreds, personally. He likes the trotters. So he was going to fight a guy. He's in his 70s. Because the guy remembered my mom from the greasy spoon she used to work at. Everybody was in love with my mom. She looked like Rosario Dawson. So my mom looked like. Right? I don't know if the Lumbies are going to get their right recognition. I don't know. Like, that's why I took a 23andMe, man. I don't know. Right? Sorry, I don't mean to do that. Henry Barry Lowry. He was Lumbee. And he was a man of the river. Right? Look into it yourself. Henry Barry Lowry. That's the movie that they need to make. That's the movie. Because a general from the Civil War left his post, went all the way to try to find Henry Barry Lowry. And Henry Barry Lowry, he hung out with blacks and peckerwoods, what they call them, whites. But he wasn't either one. I mean, he ran a crew like my grandfather. He ran a crew, Henry Barry Lowry. And that general, or a captain from the Civil War, came all the way to find him. And he goes, man, you're a killer. We need guys like you. Please join my regiment. Please. That's what a badass Henry Barry Lowry was. And he was a Lumbee, like me. Are we a people? I don't know. We're named after a river. So are the people in Nigeria, right? The Niger River. They're named after a river. That's what they did. That's what an Indian is. Indian means you live in a valley between a stream. That's what the word means. You got to go back to that Elmano. We're going to wrap it up. Okay? So this is Max. And he sees that there's a niche. Now, he's not filling it because of who his dad is. He's doing things off of instinct, but it comes from his father. You understand? Sins of the father. Right? Oh, they're not sins when something good happens. When something bad happens, oh, they're whatever. It's life. What are you going to do? So he's working on instinct. He says, man, there's a niche in the music industry here. Why? Because I lived there. There was a niche. They weren't classic rock with long hair. That's why I know Negative Approach, Black Flag, and Minor Threat. They shaved their heads. They were the antithesis of the hippie. It had nothing to do with racism. Nothing. If they're using neural pathways to train AI, what are you doing about your neural pathways? Are you wasting them? You know? You're a bottle baby? You a bottle baby? You gotta have a ba-ba in your mouth? You have something in your mouth out there, smoking cigarettes, yeah, smoking weed here, hitting a fucking, sucking on a glass dick? So they call it, no offense. Whatever. Are you a bottle baby? When I wrote Two-Legged Animal, we are not animals, obviously. That was inspired by Mesmero's Really the Blues. He was a Jewish guy, and every time he went to jail, right, he goes, it was during segregation, he goes, put me in a black section. They're like, you black? Yeah, man, I'm Northern African. That's what inspired it, my book, Two-Legged Animal. Henry from Black Flag's book, Get in the Van. Mesro's really the blues, and somebody else I'll tell you some other time. I only do half-hour shows. I don't want to waste your time. Listen at 1.5 while you drive, or 2.0 on the go. So Max, he gets thrown in jail because of what he did. He opened up what they call speakeasy. That's what he opened up. There's one called, I think it was called Jimmy's in Detroit. Some guy got murdered there. And that's why I don't laugh about murder, man. It's not, it doesn't make you a hard guy, throwing your weight around. Somebody gets murdered. My band would, we would never have the problems we had if Terry Moran wasn't murdered. So he gets busted at this speakeasy. It's right in my treatment. And he goes to jail. He gets tossed into jail. And the word gets back to his father, Dino, who's in his 80s. His kids are in the 50s, and they got businesses and all this stuff. You see these mob guys, their sons and daughters, they run businesses, legitimate businesses. They built the whole, the Purple Gang, they built all of Grosse Pointe, man. That's where Patti Smith is from. Anyway, so the reason the word gets back to his dad is because there's somebody old enough to remember all this stuff. The police chief, like in that film, The Untouchables, the police chief, he knows him. So he calls him. Everybody knows. It's like me. Everybody knows, but nobody wants to say anything. Everybody knows that Max is his kid, but they don't say nothing. But only the older people know. Because next generation, they're not going to know. Right? Erase me? Yeah, erase me, man. It's interesting that the word race is in erase. Eh? Yeah. Know your race, know your place, get the F out of my face. Yeah, I got out of everybody's face, man. I got out of everybody's face. Sure. Anyways, I'll wrap it up. I'm yelling. I'm in the fucking library. I can't believe it. I'm really sorry about that. I apologize. It's coffee. I gotta blame somebody. It's coffee, man. Right? So, you gotta read the treatment. And that's, right? So the beginning of the on-demand series that you will watch on television or whatever, the beginning of it is Max and Dino's, the beginning of their new relationship. The beginning of their new relationship, because they don't know each other. But Max knows who Dino is, and obviously Dino knows that's his son. But Dino's wife committed suicide because of the relationship that he was having. He was cheating on her with his guma. They don't have to be white. They don't have to be black. They don't have to be eye ties. My dad is Sicilian. He is susceptible to sickle cell anemia. My dad is Sicilian. He played on an all-black baseball team because they wouldn't let him play with the other team. And besides, it was mostly all black in Detroit. We're talking, you understand? This was the 1950s into the 1960s. The songs my mother, I'm a storyteller because of my mother. I'm a guitar player because of my dad, who grew up in Flatwoods, Kentucky. Right? My mom used to come home and tell stories. That's what she did. She was an actress, but she would come home, and I was a little kid. I said I'm a mama's boy, and she would come home